Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be going over a unique item that's definitely seen a little bit of an overhaul, and that is the Blood Artisan's Cuirass. The Blood Artisan's Cuirass is one that's always been pretty decent for getting free bone spirits, but they've definitely beefed it up a little bit, so we're going to go over like what they've done to it. So first off, it does have a pretty beefy amount of HP, because 873 seems to be about the base that they usually put on items these days. So it went up to 1,259. They also have the interesting additive bonus of 135% damage for 4 seconds after picking up a Blood Orb, which of course this is what this entire thing is based on, is picking up Blood Orbs. So more damage for picking up Blood Orbs. It works out. It checks. We also get a Blood Orbs Restore 12 Essence. So every single time you pick up a Blood Orb, you're going to get Essence back, which is also pretty interesting because that means you're going to be like constantly restoring as much Essence as you possibly can with each Blood Orb pickup. And there's a lot of ways that you can get Blood Orbs, and we'll talk about that as well because obviously that's important to this build. You can also get +2 to 3 to Bone Spirit. 3 Bone Spirit is obviously very important for this because this is a Bone Spirit item. And you can, of course, get greater affixes on any of these to beef them up even higher. The main meat and potatoes of this, though, is when you pick up a Blood Orb, and you have to pick up at least 3. So they brought it down from 5 to 3, which is a massive increase to the number of bone spirits that you can potentially obtain. So if you have used this in the past at the 5, this is a pretty huge bump in the total number of bone spirits that you can fire off for free this way. On top of this, you also the free bone spirit is spawned dealing bonus damage based on your current life percentage. Now what this means is that because bone spirit always basically deals damage based on your current life percentage, if your current life percentage is at maximum, when you fire off the bone spirit, you're going to get that multiplier, the bonus damage based on your current life percentage. So like if I have 29% and I'm at 100% bonus, I'm going to get a better damage bone spirit than I would otherwise. Which is really nice, and that's going to multiply on top of the maximum essence that you're going to get as well, which does count when you fire it off. So if you don't have maximum essence when you fire it off for free, it doesn't get as much damage, right? On top of this, we also have the fact that you can fire off your bone spirits yourself as well. So you get your bone spirits plus the free bone spirits, and it actually can really add up to a lot of spam if you wanted to. In fact, you can even just simply add this into a build and you can fire off free bone spirits while you're doing something else, which is also kind of cool. The flavor text on this is the infamous necromancer Gazathul's mastery over blood magic was indisputable. Many suspect that upon his death, his skin was used to fashion this eldritch armor, Barrett's Book of Implements. Now, it does have a really grim appearance. Your character basically looks like he's like got his skin flayed off or something. Like, I know they said they may use the skin to make it, but there's no skin on there. Like, that's just bone. There's some meat there. Like, you can kind of see like your heart sticking out or something. I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, it's pretty grody, all in all, as far as like armors go. Now, when you get the free bone spirits, pretty much all you got to do is collect Blood Orbs. So if I collect 3 or 4 Blood Orbs in this particular case, you'll notice that they just kind of like pop out and you just get them for free. I'm currently using the Corpse Tendrils one, which gets me free Blood Orbs that way. It's actually a pretty easy way to get free Blood Orbs, but there's even more ways than just the Corpse Tendrils. And we're going to go over some of those ways here in a second, but I just wanted to show off the free bone spirits. Now, one downside about the free bone spirits is you can't really aim them exactly, and sometimes they do kind of go off into nowhere land. But an interesting thing is that now that they have this aspect where the imprisoned spirit circle, it basically makes it so that your bone spirits will target preferentially the monster that is inside of the bone prison. So if you are using bone prison with your particular build and you get your Blood Orbs and you collect Blood Orbs, like for instance you have a whole bunch of them and you're utilizing, I'm going to take these off for a second so it's smaller, but if you're utilizing the Blood Orbs and you get the free bone spirit and you have your bone prison cast, there's a very good chance that your bone spirit is going to fire directly at the monster that is obviously within the bone prison. So it's going to be an interesting way that you can kind of control the free ones that you're getting from the cast, which is definitely very nice. And I kind of took it off there for a second so you didn't actually see it, but because I am super intelligent. I like to joke on my intelligence a lot because I make tons of mistakes. I don't ever want you guys to think that I don't make mistakes, because I make mistakes, okay? I do. Alright, so like, for instance, there we go. We got our bone prison up, and I'm going to fire this off. And, of course, it didn't go where we wanted it to, did it? Sometimes it just hits the monster, literally right next to you. So, there's that. It doesn't, however, cost any resource. So, like, when you fire it off for free, you'll notice that I'm not getting, like, the free overpowers. Let me see if I can display this again. So right now I currently have the 275 primary resource from the Banished Lord's Talisman. And if I grab these again, you'll notice that it's not overpowering, right? However, if I fire one off manually, definitely an overpower, right? So definitely a big difference in being able to scale the damage from the free ones, because you can't guarantee the overpowers by utilizing, say, Banished Lord's Talisman. But you could scale it in other ways, say using Melted Heart of Selig and things like that. So it could be neat. I do think that the change from 5 to 3 was a massive increase, and getting the free bone spirits to pop out when you get blood orbs is definitely very nice. But let's talk about ways that you can potentially scale the blood orbs so that you can have more of them, because obviously the more blood orbs you have, the more that you can collect, and the more that you can collect, the more damage you do, because the more bone spirits you get. And there's tons of ways that you can scale, obviously, even also the damage, not just the number of bone spirits, but there's ways that you can scale the damage. First off is not using a bone basic skill, which is something that might not be obvious to everyone, but you probably want to use something like Hemorrhage, perhaps. Hemorrhage has a chance to create blood orbs as a blood skill, so it's a 20% chance to create a blood orb. And on top of this, you can also get another chance to create blood orbs through the transfusion skill, which is lucky hit. Your blood skills have up to a 3% chance to create a blood orb at the target's location. This can only occur once every 4 seconds. So basically, you can get a blood orb this way, and you can also get a blood orb from spamming a basic. Obviously, all of the blood skills can potentially make blood orbs with using this lucky hit as well. And you could even get blood orbs maybe through Blood Wave as well, because I do believe Blood Wave leaves behind 3 blood orbs as it travels, yes. Now, the main ways that I like to get blood orbs, and this is my personal preference, is number 1 is the Blighted Corpse Tendrils, which is Corpse Tendrils has a 35% chance to drop a blood orb when damaging enemies. And if you have a large number of enemies on the screen, you will get a exceedingly large number of blood orbs. This is one of my favorite ways to get blood orbs, but this does not really work on bosses, and that is kind of an issue, because of course you only have the one boss, and you only like Corpse Central one monster, and so you get like 1 blood orb or 2 blood orbs or something, and it's not really that impressive. The main way that I like to get blood orbs besides Corpse Tendrils is by utilizing this aspect right here, and if you are using the blood orbs for this particular build, you're probably going to want to use this one. It's called the Aspect of the Embalmer, and it's consuming a corpse at any point, has a 30% chance to spawn a free blood orb. And you can get essentially an infinite number this way just by simply spamming something like Corpse Explosion, or your skeletal minions, like rezzing your skeletal minions, or getting the Skeletal Priest for healing them. Doesn't really matter what you're doing. If you are consuming a corpse, you are getting a blood orb. And this could be a very interesting way to spam blood orbs as well. It actually is very effective as long as you have a steady stream of corpses. On top of that, you can also get other effects, like, for instance, you can get the collecting blood orbs reduces your ultimate cooldown. You can also use the blood orbs grant essence, which would stack on top, of course. The blood orbs restore 12 essence that's currently on the item. So if you added these two together, you would be restoring, what, 25 plus 12, and of course this one could be masterwork, probably up to like, at least easily like 15. And so you're looking at, what, 40 essence being restored every single time you collect a blood orb, which is pretty powerful. In general, with this particular item, you're really focusing on bone spirits and blood orbs, and trying to create blood orbs, as many as you can. The interesting thing about this is you don't necessarily need to have Bone Spirit on your bar. You could potentially even just use this in a blood build that has tons of blood orbs laying around for free bone spirits that will fly off and deal massive amounts of damage while you focus mainly on your blood skills, which is also another interesting way that you could potentially do it. Also, Corpse Explosion could synergize very interestingly in this too if you were using the Embalmer aspect, because if you set up for a very interesting Corpse Explosion build, you would have tons of corpses, you'd be popping those corpses, and there'd be tons of blood orbs around all over the place for you to collect and spawn free bone spirits at any time to get an interesting, nice little damage pump like whenever you need to. I mean, the bone spirits are not exactly terrible, and they are AoE, and they dish out some pretty nice damage, so it's a very nice way to add in addendum damage to your character. The only thing that I would definitely say about this is that the Blood Orbs and Cuirass has no defensive aspects on it whatsoever. It's got no damage reduction. It's got no, like, barrier or anything on it to help keep you alive, except for the fact, obviously, that you're picking up Blood Orbs. But it doesn't even really help you spawn Blood Orbs either, which is a little frustrating from an armor standpoint, because your armor is generally one of your tankiest pieces, and this armor has literally like zero tankiness. I would do this armor disjustice and bad press essentially if I didn't at least show you what it looks like in the wardrobe, because it is creepy. So let's take a look at it real quick. This is what the armor looks like. I mean, it literally looks like your heart is sticking out of your chest, like your spine and bones. There's no skin. Like, I don't know why the armor says something about like it being made out of somebody's skin, because there's no skin in there. Like that's no skin. That's what that is. That's no skin. That's definitely not skin. I think that's pretty much it for this particular item. Let me know what you guys think about the changes to Blood Orbs and Cuirass. Are you interested in trying working this into one of your builds? Have you already? How is it working out? That could be neat. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, even when we're just talking about a bloody mess of an armor as Blood Orbs and Cuirass. And as always, keep watching.